Have you ever visited a company website and clicked on their team page only to see a professionally designed list of team members with their photos, job titles, social media links, and individual profile pages? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build that in WordPress without installing any additional plugin. This video is a continuation of our real estate landing page and portfolio website design. So if you haven't watched that previous video, especially the portfolio custom post type, I highly recommend starting there first because we'll be building on the same concepts. Just like we created a custom post types for properties, we are going to create a dedicated team members post type and make it easy for both you and your client to add, edit, manage team profiles directly from the WordPress dashboard. We'll also set this up in a way that is scalable, professional, and very easy to maintain. Before we get started, if you're enjoying these tutorials and want to learn how to build professional WordPress websites for your clients, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn on notification. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to keep creating more free tutorials like this. Now, let's jump straight into the video. So in this video, I will continue from where I left off in the last one, where we had to build this real estate portfolio website and we had to set up portfolio items for the real estate properties. Using the same system, we are going to build our team custom post type. So to do that, first we have to go back to our dashboard. If you don't have the SCF plugin installed, which I currently do here, please go to the plugins section on WordPress and then go to add plugin and search for secure custom fields, because that is the plugin that we'll be using for this tutorial. So this is the plugin that you want to install. Make sure it's secure custom fields. So I'm going to go back to secure custom fields and I'm going to add a new post type. So I'm going to go to post types and then click on add new. For this, I'm going to call it team. And team for the singular label. And that auto populates the post type key. And we are going to go into advanced configuration. All we need to do here is just change the icon. So I'm going to search for users and then just select this icon and then click save changes. Now that we have our team's custom post type ready, the next step is to create custom field groups. This will cover things like the team member designation and social media links. So I'm going to go into field groups and then click on add new. And for the field group title, I'm going to call this teams field group. So for the first field, we are going to leave it as text, and the field label, we are going to call it designation. Okay, that auto populates the field name as well. And we want to make this field required. So we go into validation and then set the required value. Next, we are going to add another field group. This is going to be a URL. So I'm just going to open the field type and type in URL. Pick this field label. Let's call this Facebook. This is for the social media links. And we are not going to make it required because not all team members are going to have Facebook accounts. So we are going to leave the required button unchecked. And to speed this up, all I'm going to do is just duplicate this field and then change it from Facebook to Instagram. And then duplicate it one more time. And we are going to call this LinkedIn. Make sure you change the field name. When you duplicate, it doesn't change the field name. So make sure you change the field name. The field name has to be unique. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Now we need to assign the field group to a custom post type. And the way we do that is on the settings tab, you select, make sure that post type is selected and it's equal to team. And now you click Save Changes. If you look over to the left panel, you would see that now we have a theme's custom post type, and we can then start to populate our theme items. Now let's go ahead and add our first team member. I'm just going to copy the information and paste it here. And for the designation, we are going to paste that here. And I'm just going to add some random Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn profile links. So with that done, the next thing is to add their bio. So I'm just going to copy and paste that as well. And we are going to provide their featured image. So I'm just going to drag all the images I'm going to use so that I can pick them one by one. So I'm going to go ahead and select the first image and then hit publish. Now I'm going to go ahead and upload the rest of the team members, and when that is done, we'll come back and set up the loop template item, and then we also set up the single page view for each team member. Now I'm done uploading all the team member profiles, so let's head back to our dashboard, and you can see them here. There are 6 of them. So to create the template for the profiles, the first thing we want to do is go into Elementor, Editor, and then click on Templates. So from here, we can add a new template and make sure that you select the type as loop items, and then you give it a name. So let's call that theme loop templates and hit create. So I'm going to close this, and then we can then start to build out our templates. So for this particular template, I'll be going for a different kind of look. I want it to look like an Instagram reel with a black gradient. So you'll see what that looks like in a bit. So let's first add a container. This will be our entire wrapping container. So I'm going to give this container a minimum height of, let's say, around 540 pixels. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is add another container within this one. But before we do that, I'm going to have to remove this padding. That is the dashed border that you can see around it. So to do that, let's go into advanced and then set padding to 0. Make sure you have the container selected. So with the container still selected, I'm going to go into add elements, and then we would add another container. So this inserts a new container within that particular container, as you can see from our structure right here. So for this container, I'm going to set it to absolute. That will help me place this container at the bottom. So let's go into advanced, and then under the positions tab, we need to change that from default to absolute. And then we need to make sure that we have it on the left and then move it to the bottom. So now it is at the bottom of our parent container. The next thing I'm going to do is select the main container itself and then go into style. Now under style, this is where we can set a background image. So I'm going to click on classic. And then for the background image, rather than choosing an image, because this is a loop template, I am going to click on the dynamic tags and then set it to the post featured image. So for us to be able to preview what we are currently working with, the first thing we are going to do is go into loop settings. And under loop settings, we are going to go into preview settings and then change this from post to theme. So this will randomly pick one of the team member and then display it right here. So I'm going to click on apply and preview. Now there's an image currently displayed. All we need to do is properly set up the image. So I'm going to go back to styles. Make sure you have the main container selected. I'm going to go back to styles, and then for the position, I'm going to set it to center. For repeats, I'm going to set it to no repeat. For display, I'm going to set that to cover. So that looks good. The next thing I want to do is add a soft border radius around it. So I'm going to go under border, and then you would see border radius. I'm going to set this to 10 pixels. So that gives us a nice rounded border. So with this done, we need to add a faded gradient that's from transparent to black. To do that, we go into background overlay, we click on classic, we click on gradient, and then we can set the first color to black, okay? And then reduce the transparency of that, and then set the second color to black as well. And then we can adjust the location just to get the kind of feel that we want. So as you can see, as I move it, it gets darker and then lighter. So I'm going to make sure that this is completely set to transparent, and then we can then move this and adjust it just the way we want it to. So the next step is to increase the opacity slightly, so that the lower part of the team's profile is a lot darker than the upper part. So with that done, we can select the inner container. This is where we're going to have the team member's name and their designation. So with that selected, let's add a bit of padding. So we will set our padding to 1M. And then let's head back to add elements. And then this time around, we are going to drag the post title. Remember, the post title is the name of the team member. So that is properly displayed. I would set this to a H3 tag. I'm also going to change the text color to white. And then finally, I'm going to add another text, but this time around, I'm just going to go with the heading text. I'll just drag it underneath the name of the team member. For this, I'm going to change this to a paragraph text. And then for the title, same as always, we want to grab the dynamic tags. And then this time around, we are going to go into the SCF field. If you followed along with the real estate portfolio website that we built and which we are building the team members currently on, you would see me go through all of this, and I tend to explain that a bit better. So if you don't fully understand what I'm doing, please go back, watch that video, and then you can come back to this one. So the next thing is to select SCF field, and then we click on it again, and then this time around we want to set the key to designation. So that picks up the designation of the particular team member. Now I'm just going to make some adjustments to the layout. The title and the designation are too spaced apart, and then the padding is too close to the edge for my liking. So I'm just going to make those minor adjustments, and then we'll move ahead. So to do that, first let's change the text color for our designation. Let's change that to white, and then drop the opacity a bit. For the typography, I'm going to change the font weight to around 400. And then I'm going to adjust the default gap within the layout. So that means I'll select the container, go into layouts, and then under gap, I'm going to set this to 5. And finally, I'm going to increase the padding. So I'm going to select this as well, and then go into advanced, and then increase this to around 2 Ms. So that looks a lot better, and our template is looking good. Finally, we need people to be able to click on this profile and then link directly to more details about the profile. So to do that, let's select the entire container, because we want to make the entire container clickable. So we select the entire container, we go into layouts, and then under advanced options, we want to set the HTML tag to a link, right? Once that is done, you want to select the dynamic tag object and then select post URL. So whenever this is clicked on, it goes to the post URL that is attached to this. With our theme loop template completed, we are going to add the theme list to the home page. So I have to go back to WordPress. And on the WordPress dashboard, go back into all pages, and then select the home page and click edit with Elementor. Now all we have to do is scroll down and look for the bottom section, and I'm going to add a new container here. And for this container, I'm going to adjust the padding. So the left will be 1 ems, the bottom will be 4. For the right, I'm going to go with 1, and then the top will be 4 as well. So with the container selected, I'm going to select a heading tag, and then I'll call this Meet the Team, and I'm just going to adjust the text color to be black. That's fine. Make sure we still have the text selected. Go to Add Element and click on Container. That adds a new container underneath our title. The next thing is to add our theme list. So to do that, let's go into Add Element, scroll down to Loop Grid. We can actually make this a loop carousel. I think for this purpose, let's make it a loop carousel so that you see how that works. So I'm going to select Loop Carousel. And for the template, I'm going to start typing theme. And that should bring up our loop templates. I'll have that selected. Wait for this to load. I'll leave the number of slides as 6, and I will change the slides to display. This is fine as 3, and then slides to scroll. This is also fine as 1. Make sure we have it set to equal height. Then the next thing is to go under query, and then for the source, I'm going to change the source to themes. Wait for that to load. That looks good. And that is it basically. So now I can hit publish and then click on preview and then see how that looks on the website. So at the bottom, you have Meet the Team, and then this is a carousel that scrolls automatically. So I can easily pick one of these profiles, click on it to learn more about the particular person. But as you can see, this single post template has not been styled yet. So what we're going to do is, in the next part of this video, I'm going to create a single post template with Elementor so that we can properly display our team members profile. So to do that, let's go back to WordPress and then go into Elementor, and then under editor, click on templates. Now, what we have to do is click on Add New Template and then select the type of template that we want to add. In this case, it's going to be a single post template. And we are going to call this a team single template. Then hit Create. So let's close this. And now we can start working on our team single post template. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a section. Make sure I have the container selected, go into advanced, and then we need to add some padding. So to do this, I'm going to switch to EMs and then make sure I unlink all the values. So for the top, I'm going to go with around 10 ems. Sorry, for the bottom, I'm going to go with around 10 ems, and for the top, I'm going to go with around 24 ems so that, everything is pushed to the bottom. Maybe just reduce that a bit. Okay, that looks a lot better. So with this now, all I have to do, I can just, for the sake of styling, give this a light gray background. Mind you, I'm just building the layout off the top of my head as we go along, so bear with me. So the light gray background looks good. Next, I'm going to add two more containers within this very container. So I'm going to go with a container. Make sure that is selected. I'm going to duplicate the container. And now we have both containers stacked on top of each other. What I would like to do is to have the team members image on the left hand side, and then there are details on the right hand side. So we need to make this container side by side. So what I'm going to do is select the parent container, go into layouts, and then change the direction to row. Now for the very first container, I'm going to drag the image element. So that means going back to add elements, and then find the featured image. This is it. So I'm just going to drag it and drop it here. Now to have the proper preview, let's go into the single post settings, which is here. And then under preview settings, I'm going to change it to theme, change the preview dynamic content. So I'm going to change that to team, and then I'm going to apply and preview. So this has loaded one of our team members, which is nice. The next thing, I'm going to add the post title. Remember, the post title is the name of the team member. So with that selected, I'm going to change the text color to black. And then I'm just going to add the designation right underneath this. So to do that, I'm going to select a heading element and then change it to a paragraph tag, first of all. Next, I'm going to give this text a background color, a text color of black. And then I'll just drop the opacity just a little bit so it is light. Next, I'm going to go back to content, and then under the title, I'm going to select dynamic tags, go into the SCF field, and then select that once again and change the key to designation. Next thing, I'm going to change the style, the font weight, change it from semi-bold to normal. And just below this, I'm going to include the post content, which is the actual bio for the team member. So with that selected, let's just change the text color to black. That is nice. And we are going to add the social media links right underneath this. Now to add the social media links, all we have to do is I'm going to use an element called icon list. Okay, so I'm going to drag that underneath our bio. And then for the icon list, I want them to be inline. So I'm going to select inline. And the first list, I'm going to search for an icon LinkedIn. For the text, we are going to change this to LinkedIn. And then for the link, I'm going to go into dynamic tags and then SCF URL fields. And then I'm going to select this again and then change this to LinkedIn. So this now links to the LinkedIn profile. The next thing I want to do is make sure that this opens in a new tab because we don't want LinkedIn to load on the same page. So you make sure that you have open in a new window checked. So let's close this. Now, what I like to do is just to duplicate. So rather than building everything from scratch, I will delete those two, duplicate LinkedIn. I'll change this to Facebook and then also change the icon to the Facebook logo. And then I'm going to change the URL field from LinkedIn to Facebook. And we'll do this same for Instagram. So change the text to Instagram. And then the icon as well to Instagram. And finally, change the URL field to Instagram. So our links are complete. The only thing we need to do now is just to restyle them. So I'm going to go into style. For the list, I will leave that alone. For the icon, I will change the color to black. And then for the text as well, I will change the color to black. So that is it. That is your team profile ready. The last thing I want to do is add a new section at the bottom so that whilst the user or the visitor is viewing this particular profile, he can click on other profiles as well. So for this section, we'll do the same thing. I'm going to adjust the padding just to give it some wiggle room to breathe. So this should be 1 ems. The bottom should be 4. Right should be 1 as well. And then the top should be 4. So with that selected, I'm going to go into add elements and then look for the loop item. So I'm going to drag in the loop carousel, just like we did for the home page. For the templates, I'm going to select our theme template. So that will be theme loop templates. For the number of slides, we're going to leave it at 6. Slides to display, we'll leave it at 3. And then slides to scroll, we'll leave that as 1. So for the query, we need to change the source to themes. And then we need to exclude the current theme member that is currently being viewed, right? That would help prevent situations where the team member still appears here and then also still appears within the carousel. So to do that, we go to exclude and then we click on the plus sign and then we exclude the current post. That is all we need to do. So now we can publish and add a condition to make sure that this is shown on the theme page. Now we hit save and close, and that is done. So now we can go back to our home page, go back to WordPress, and then click on the real estate icon to view the home page. And then now when you scroll down, you see your team members. Nice. And then you can click on one and view their profile while you now have other team members here. So just for good measure, let's do edits with Elementor and add a title to this particular section, and maybe also adjust the padding at the top. So now we can select the top container, go into advanced, reduce the top padding a bit to right around 12, bottom as well, let's make that 4, and then scroll down to the bottom, and where we have this, let's select this container, and then we need to add a title. So we'll drag the title on top to make sure that our title is on top, and then from here we can say other team members. Head over to style and then change the text color to black. Now we can publish and preview. So there you have it. This is how easy it is to create custom post types, especially for a use case like team members in this case, without having to download additional plugins and bloat your WordPress website. Trust me, when you get a hang of it and you fully understand how to create custom post types and use them for different use cases, whether it be team members or portfolio or works or even clients, right? It makes it easy for your clients to maintain the website. It also makes it easy for you to maintain the website. So this is what I'm trying to teach you. Not everything in WordPress needs a separate plugin, right? With a single plugin and understanding how custom post types work, you can easily put together different post types to manage different types of content on the website. So be it news, be it blog, be it themes, be it portfolio, it's really easy to do, and you only need one plugin to be able to do that. So if you've learned something from this video, please subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel and it helps us grow as well. And also, if you're not following my Telegram channel, please join the channel. That is where I get to teach live classes once in a month. So thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you in the next video.